ago where they had some
due to the state and not released.
we'll move that to January more so that
See, when I threw mine out one day, whenever I went over to his house,
And I said, you must want Merry Christmas to me. And he didn't say that. I'm joking. It's nothing towards you. It's just
Kurt's got the entire
we're supposed to be right here. Yes.
not that I'm aware of.
Shannon,
I'm kind of a good
Snyder.
So somebody's going to have to pick something
I
out.
gotta write that down wrong over Shannon. And just live Dr. Littrell.
Don't
Little.
say that too loud. It can always be worse.
They say it right. We make fun of the other one or something. We get to say all the words right.
They gotta try anyway. We'll try this there. We missing everybody.
Well, hello, Mr. Dryden.
Roll call.
You missed it. We told you you weren't coming. You snooze, you lose.
You got enough there, right?
We got enough for a quarter. All right, I got 5 o'clock, ladies and gentlemen. Good evening. The November the 21st, 2024 regular session Lawrence County School Board will now come to order. Last month we started a new tradition, and we recognized a student within the system to come and present a character trait for our school system. So this month we recognize sophomore Summertown High School student Jake Pettis.
Today, I want to talk about a cornerstone of character that shapes our actions, our decisions, and our legacy: integrity. Integrity is the quality of being honest and having strong moral principles. It's about doing the right thing even when no one is watching. In a world where the lines between right and wrong can be often seen blurred, integrity stands as a beacon of light. It's not about just following the rules, but about embodying a life of consistency in our values and actions. As Proverbs 11:3 tells us, the integrity of the upright guides them, but the crookedness of the treacherous destroys them. This verse reminds us that integrity isn't merely beneficial, it's foundational for a well-lived life. Living with integrity means standing firm in your beliefs, being truthful, and acting justly. It's about aligning your walk with your talk, ensuring that who you are in private matches who you are in public. Integrity builds trust, forms the bedrock of relationships, and fosters respect in both personal and professional spheres. Let's pray. Dear God, thank you for bringing us out here today, and please be with the school board as they make decisions, God. In Jesus' name I pray, amen.
Thank you, Mr. Pettis.
Thank you, Jay.
Now, if we will stand and we'll have the Pledge of Allegiance. Mr. Rochelle, would you lead us, please?
I pledge
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. First order of business, we welcome to the Lawrence County School Board a new member, Ms. Shannon Watson. Welcome, and look forward to being able to work with you. She takes her seat for the first time this evening, so again, on behalf of the entire board, it's good to have you. Can you please call roll?
Adams,
Here.
Alexander,
Here?
Daniel,
Here.
Dryden,
Here.
Jacobs,
Here.
Rochelle,
Here.
Shannon, Watson,
Here.
Weathers,
Here.
All right, so I believe that's 8 out of 9 present. We have a quorum. First item on the agenda so we will, the presentation, Barry Luffman with the Elks Lodge on a donation of life vacs to Lawrence County School System.
My name is Barry Luckman. I'm here on behalf of Lawrenceburg Elks Lodge number 2206. I also have several other lodge members here with me, and I want to thank you for the opportunity to address the board and present this safety device to the schools. And I also want to thank Ms. Jenny Golden for assisting us in that process. I got a little letter here that I issued with these devices. I don't know if y'all are aware of them, but it's for choking, and I'd just like to read this letter, and I won't take up a whole lot of your time. I addressed it principals, teachers, and cafeteria staff. During a recent class that I took part in, something came to my attention that I felt might save a life. It is a device for choking that is called the Life Vac. After learning about this device and how easy it is to operate, I began to think about the need for this device in our local schools. I'm currently serving as Exalted Ruler in the Lawrenceburg Elks Lodge, number 2206. The Elks is a fraternal organization with the motto of Elks Care, Elks Share. The Elks is a nationwide organization with each state striving with their own projects, and each Elks Lodge in every state striving to be a beacon within their local community. Our main priority is to help veterans and youth within our community. With the unanimous support of the Lawrenceburg Elks Lodge, we decided to purchase a Life Vac for every school, public and private, within Lawrence County. And we want to make sure each school has one accessible to them. And we're thankful for the opportunity to give something that may help in an emergency. So may God bless America, God bless our veterans, and God bless our youth. Thank you.
Thank you.
It's a scary thing to have to do.
I get the Orange County school system, right?
That's great. That is great.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
And thank y'all again. We hope nobody ever uses it.
Thank you.
Same here.
Thank you.
Again, thank you. Thank you very much. All right, next item on the agenda are the recognitions. Retired educator this month would be board member Kurt Weathers.
Good evening. Can y'all hear me? It's an honor to be here today to celebrate the incredible career of Miss Billie Robinson, a teacher whose impact extends far beyond the classroom. Miss Robinson began her teaching career in 1975 at Lourdes Elementary after completing her studies at Columbia State and University of North Alabama. For 30 years, she taught over 1,500 children across 2nd through 6th grade, often managing split grade classrooms with a deep sense of care and dedication. To her, every student was special, and she made sure we all felt valued, seen, and loved. Miss Robinson didn't just teach us these important life lessons through wisdom and kind words. She also taught us by holding us accountable. I'll never forget a time when I didn't follow directions as carefully as I should have. She made me stay after class and told me I couldn't go to break until I completed the assignment the way she had asked. At the time, I was upset meaning about to cry. Not mad or anything, but looking back, I realized she was teaching me something invaluable: how to follow directions, how to do things well, and how to take responsibility for my actions. That lesson has stayed with me throughout my life. Now I'm going off script a little bit. Another thing that happened in third grade, my third grade year in Miss Robinson's class was the last year at Lower Elementary School. And chicken pox was going through Lower Elementary at that time. And one day at lunch, if this tells you how this is completely different than the rest of my school years, she came and asked me if I would please raise up my back of my shirt so she could look at it. And she saw that I had chicken pox, and she said, "I've got to go call your mom." And I begged and pleaded, please. No, that's how much I loved her, that class. No other class ever have I wanted to stay at school when I had an opportunity to go home. Just a little side note. One of her former students shared a powerful lesson he learned from Miss Robinson. He said, during the first week of school, we were asked to write our name, address, and draw a map from the school to our home. At the time, it seemed like a simple back-to-school task, but Miss Robinson later explained that the assignment was about understanding where her students came from. She and her husband, Perlis, would drive to each student's home so they could better understand their lives and needs. She said, when you know where students go home to every day, you can better understand them and meet their needs. Miss Robinson's legacy is not just in lessons she taught, but in the love and care she showed every student. She didn't teach just teach subjects. She taught us kindness, empathy, and how to be better people. On behalf of all students whose lives you've touched, Miss Robinson, thank you. You have made a lasting difference in all of our lives, and your legacy will live on in the hearts of countless children you've taught.
So the next recognition we have is student recognition from South Lawrence School, Miss Snyder. Just turn it.
I just wasn't sure. All right, the SLS Outstanding Student for this year is Miss Addie Surratt. She is a 7th grader, and she is an all-around, not only great student, but great young lady. And that is why we decided to recognize her. She is in Junior Beta. She is in FCA. She has been a homecoming attendant every year that she has been eligible to be a homecoming attendant. And there's criteria set that you have to meet that. But then also what's impressive is they're elected by their peers as well. So not only do her teachers think highly of her, as do her classmates. Same on the character trait recognition. Sometimes that's selected by teachers, sometimes that's selected by students. It doesn't matter who is doing the selecting, Addie is selected. Also, our Student Advisory Committee, which is school level as well as district level, Addie is the representative for South Lawrence. She's the representative for her grade level, but she is also our school representative. And going a little bit further than that, specifically her test data is especially impressive. She has been in science, met expectations or higher since 3rd grade. So for 4 years in a row, she was where she was supposed to be. And a little more impressive, she was exceeded expectations in ELA and in math, both since 3rd grade. And she is a 7th grader, so she has exceeded expectations every year. And the past 2 years, she not only exceeded expectations in math, but she had perfect scores. And we are pretty confident she is going to again this year too. So, as I said when I started, she is a great young lady, she is a great student, and she makes South Lawrence very proud.
Congratulations. Congratulations, awesome job. Next recognition is Loretta High School, Dr. Littleton.
Good evening. Tonight I'm recognizing Jaden Williams. He is a senior at Loretta High School. He's involved in FFA, SGA, and FCA. He plans to go to basic training for the Army after he graduates and then start college the following spring. He wants to be active and be in politics as well. Jaden is the type of student who never fails to say hello to me in the halls. I think since the first day of school, every time he sees me, good morning, Dr. Littleton. How are you, Dr. Littleton? He's by far one of the most polite young men. He's one of the nicest and most respectful students I've ever had the pleasure of working with. Some of his teachers, I think every teacher in the school would say the exact same thing, but several things the teachers say about Jaden. He's deserving of this recognition. He's one of the most respectful kids I've ever had in class. He's always willing to help no matter what I ask of him and always does it with a great attitude. Jaden is one of the kids that will always ask you how you're doing and always says yes, sir, and yes, ma'am. No doubt Jaden will excel in anything he does. Jaden stands apart from his classmates in work ethic and character. He's not afraid to be himself and is one of the most kind people I've ever taught. He befriends everyone and comes to school with a genuine curiosity and desire to learn. Ms. Mashburn, our heirs counselor, said he's always polite, respectful, and courteous. I'm proud of him for looking to join the military after graduation. He will make a tremendous soldier and represent the uniform well. Ms. Moore said Jaden is a hardworking student who's kind to everyone. He's respectful of his teachers and genuinely cares about his classmates. He embraces new learning opportunities and has a love for politics. I've enjoyed having him in my classes over the years. I think every person in our school would say this exact same thing about Jaden. He's just the nicest young man. I know he's going to do great things with his future, with his character alone. We're proud of him and proud of what he's going to do in the future, and it's my honor to present to him our Outstanding Student of the Month.
You work so hard on, they go.
Jane, I couldn't help but notice your lanyard hanging out of your pocket there, and it's bad influence from the director of schools. We'll try to get you an orange and white one, get that taken care of. Outstanding, good job. I believe that will be it for the recognitions, excuse me. Now the next item is public comments. I wasn't given any before the meeting, so I don't believe we have any public comments. So now we'll move to consent items. Before we move to that, was handed a note. If you will, flip over to page number 2 under Item 2, report items. D, the academic report. This needs to be moved to January, as the state still has not released the data, and it's still in embargo or whatever, so we'll move that to the January meeting. Under Item 2, report items, line D, academic report. Outside of that, item number 1, consider items for voice vote. I'll entertain a motion to approve.
Move to approve.
Second?
Second.
All in favor of approving number 1, consent items, let it be known by saying yes.
Yes.
Any opposed? Vote carries. Next item, report items. School reports, South Lawrence Elementary School, Shannon Snyder.
Most of what I'm going to speak to is in the report that was shared with you in your packet, but I also will speak a little bit in more detail to some of it. I started out with the demographics, and a lot of times in the report I don't include that, but the reason I chose to this year is our enrollment has significantly increased. We ended the year at about 570, and we are up to a little above 625, and I felt like that was pretty significant from one year to the next, so I did want to share that. And we also have 82 faculty and staff, so as our numbers are getting larger, faculty and staff is growing, and that's just quite a lot of people, so I wanted to share that part. Beginning with academic highlights, and this part is always a little unusual because it seems to fall around the time that things are still embargoed, so there's kind of speak somewhat to last year, but then go ahead and reference to this year. We, for 21-22 and 22-23, were back-to-back reward schools, and last year a grade A and A level 5. This year that part has not been able to be shared yet, so what I basically have decided to do is, while we can't talk about specific data from 23-24 because of it being embargoed, I just kind of did some general takeaways. One thing I do want to reference to, we never want to use it as an excuse or a stumbling block. We always want to use it to help us work harder and push harder. But with data, a lot of times things tend to, the higher you do, the more difficult it is to maintain that. Sometimes in education, they refer to that as a heartbeat. So we go up and then we go down, and we had been going up and up and up. So this year maybe we're not quite as up as we would have liked to have been. But all of the data is not finalized to where I can talk about it. But the two things that I did want to reference to is the success rate, which is the percentage of students that met or exceeded grade level standards, which is what I was referencing to about Addie in the previous presentation. And of the 20 tested areas, 19 of those we were equal to or higher than the district, and generally that tends to end pretty well. So we are feeling good about that because our district does well in general. And then our the growth, which is what shows whether a student made a full year's growth in a school year. And I think a lot of times people don't realize it's not if the student grew, it's if the student grew a full year, which to me there is a significant difference in that. And of those, there were 17 tested areas. We were above the district in 7 of those, and we were equal in 4. So that's so far as our success rate and our growth. We did have, because school student reports have gone out, I did have some individual students that I wanted to recognize just because I was so proud. We had a 3rd grader in ELA that had a perfect score. And in this day and time, testing and not missing a single question is completely amazing. So I just feel like that they need recognition for that. And that 3rd grader was Tifton Bryant. We had a 5th grader in math that had a perfect score, and that was Tucker Benson. And we actually had 3 6th graders in math that had perfect scores. And those students were Brooklyn Helton, Hadley Richardson, and Addie Surratt. So I wanted to recognize those young folks because that's awesome. The district spelling bee winner was from South Lawrence this year, and that young lady's name is Rachel Blanton. We were very proud of her. Another thing that we're doing academically, trying to align with our all of our subjects, but specifically our ELA. We actually started it last year, but we have really grown it. This year is called Voice of the Stallions. It's an electronic newspaper, and it is totally done by our students. We do have a teacher that takes the lead on that, but she will tell you it's the students. Anytime I'm doing a shout out, she doesn't even want to be included because she says the students are doing the work. They take the pictures, they write the articles, they publish the articles, and they're so proud because just a few weeks ago, I had a couple of them come to ask me if I could think of any way that they were not sharing that out that needed to be shared. So obviously they are wanting people to see their work, and I was very proud that they were taking pride in that, especially being middle school students, because a lot of times middle school students are not all about their work being shared. We are working to continue growing our Books in Hands initiative, and I did reference to that last year, but we're trying to really put a focus back on actually having books in hands. We think that that will make a significant difference in their academic achievement. And we are seeing more participation each year in our Millionaires Club, which we're feeling like is going hand in hand with the Books in Hands. The more kids we're having with books in their hands, the more kids are joining the Millionaires Club. So we're very proud about that. Several academic opportunities. We have a robotics team, career explorations class for every grade pre-K-8. We have started doing academic accomplishments in our announcements as well as other recognitions. We always have representatives at the spelling bee, Knowledge Bowl. Our junior beta had kind of taken a, I don't know that you would say taken a back seat, but had slowed in some of its activities during COVID. And they are really starting to up their game and become very active again. So we're very proud about that. A reference to JA BizTown and JA Finance Park last year, but I will continue to reference that as long as that is able to be an opportunity for our students, because it is an awesome opportunity. It's a real life experience that is, it's just very, very real world like. And then we have our drone team, and I'm especially proud of our drone team because 2 years consecutively they have qualified for nationals. So we are very proud of that. We have lots of athletic team opportunities for our students. Some recognitions that have been received this year that I would like to highlight is we did have a cross-country runner that qualified for state. Our football team was conference runner-up, and that is a back-to-back. They actually won the conference last year, and they were runner-up this year. And our volleyball team, they had a quite impressive year. They were area champs, sectional champs, and they were state Final Four. So we were very proud of them for that. Some facility highlights. We are very excited, and it kind of seems minimal, but for safety reasons and just things flowing more smoothly, the upcoming sidewalk extension and the possible extension of the fencing around our playground are two things that we're very excited and are hopeful to see complete, because they will make a significant difference for us. Some general highlights: we have a new electronic sign, and we are very proud of it, and we're also proud of how the sign was obtained. Our parent group combined with our energy savings is how we were able to get that sign. So wanted to share that. Through our Capturing Kids' Hearts initiative, we have started doing stallion shout-outs, and that has been so impactful with the students. Really, we knew they would like it, but we had no idea how simple it would be, but yet what impression it would make with them. And it's simply that an adult in the building turns them in, and they have a little circle, and I take them and they get a treat, and it is very minimal. It's like an airhead or something. It isn't all that much. And I walk them into the cafeteria, and we put their shout, I read them what the adult has said about them, put their shout out up on the wall, and you would have thought that I gave them a bar of gold. They are so proud, and it does not matter what age they are. They're just proud that someone has had something nice to say about them. So that's something we're very proud of. We're also starting an art club, and when I say starting, we are in the beginning stages, but I'm excited about it because it's going to include kids that are not in, they aren't playing ball, they aren't in chorus, it's a different group. So that's going to include more kids. At the second semester last year, we started a Girls Who Code after school group, and that's kind of in line with STEM, and that has grown. We did not have all of that many last year, but when last year's group started talking it, there's a lot more that are interested this year. And we had one of the neatest family nights that we have ever had last year. We partnered with the Loretta Museum, and we had a living history wax museum, and our 8th graders did it. You can do things like that a lot of times with the youngers, but the older aren't necessarily all that interested, but it was huge. And they learned so much about the social studies aspect, but then it was so good for them so far as for the public, for their parents to be able to come. It was partnering with the community, which we were especially proud of. Also, along the lines of our family nights, we have started trying to partner with the high school so far as with the transition. That obviously is going to need to be grown, but that's a step in the right direction. We're feeling like working with Loretta High School and what they need to have them prepared will be. And we did that with the ACT night earlier this year. And then I just want to end with a shout out to our parent group. I often feel like maybe we don't say that enough. We have an awesome parent group. They provide a lot for us, whether it's just work, whether it's support. They come in, do the work and do not want any recognition, anything. It's just they're there because they love their kids, they love this school, and I just feel like that they deserve to be recognized. And lastly, same for my faculty and staff. I could not ask for a better faculty and staff. They give all they have every day and continue to come back no matter how beat down they may be. with a smile on their face, working hard, loving those babies. And I just cannot say enough how proud of them I am.
Thank you. Thank you. Any questions for Ms. Snyder?
Mr. Chairman.
Yes.
As far as you being up 50 students, how are your class sizes, and how are we doing as far as our facility size? Because we're going to discuss some stuff coming up. The board is about all the schools in general, and I would like to know, how are you as far as your class sizes and as far as being up 50 students and the new dwellings being built close there and potentially having some more come in.
Okay, yes, because
I mean, we overcrowded in any
Right.
of the classrooms.
Somewhat. There were additional positions that were added this year, and we greatly appreciated those. We do have one grade level that is higher than any of us would prefer, Mr. Atkins included. But it is within the, the required levels. We do not have any that are extremely low, like a lot of times you can shift from one to the other. We do not have that. So our fourth grade is higher than we would like for it to be. But the two additional positions that we received were very helpful because we could not have stayed within state requirements without it. And so far as the space in the building, we are getting very full. Like we do not have anyone on a cart yet. And I know that sometimes that is a thing, but we do have multiple spaces that are being shared by multiple adults, almost to the point that some of our small groups, we're going to have to do something differently because they're almost becoming a little counterproductive because there's so much going on in a room. And so far as areas like where someone comes in, whether it be like a mentor, a therapist, a counselor, we literally have to remove someone from their area to let them have that spot. Same on any kind of meetings. Anything that we used for any of those type areas, we've had to put back to classes and student work areas. Does that answer you?
Thank you.
Shannon, what's your student-teacher ratio in the 3 different blocks? Can you just off the top of your head?
No, ma'am.
Okay, I just wondered.
We're about probably an average of about 18 to 19 in yes, in lower. It would be higher in 3-5 because of the fourth grade, because they have 28 or 29 each. Didn't have anybody anywhere to move anyone else from, and then probably 22, I'm guessing, in 6-8 or in 7-8 on the grade band, but in my brain it's 6-8 because that's how our halls are.
No, you've got big.
Find my computer, I could tell you, but I don't know exactly. But I mean, I would.
Classrooms are large, aren't they? Gosh, okay. 29 in fourth grade.
They all feel very full.
I'm sure.
When you walk in, they're very full.
Ms.
Anything
Snyder, you
else?
had made mention of, and I believe it was last month that Ethers shared, and they were doing a video digital thing, but you had talked about the electronic or digital newsletter that your team, I would love if you could share that with the board.
Sure.
I'd love to. Y'all do that monthly, quarterly, or how's that go?
Well, at least quarterly,
Okay.
but we're trying for monthly, but we're not there yet. But part of it is because it's like they can never get finished because they want to add more to it.
Yeah.
So then we have to make what would be monthly, quarterly.
Well, that's, for me, and I think the other board member, that's very enjoyable, what Ethers showed us. So, I mean, if you could share that, send that
Oh,
to us in
absolutely.
an email, I think.
I would
we'd
be happy
enjoy
to, and
seeing
they
it.
would. I can go back and tell them that you asked to see it. They will be very proud.
That'd be awesome. Thank you.
Okay.
Any other questions?
I got one
Go
on
ahead.
the interventionist. Can you elaborate on that, reading interventionist?
Oh,
And, I'm curious about tutoring. That's, we've been talking about tutoring and the positive outcomes for us tutoring. Interventionists, can you speak to that?
It's
Elaborate
exactly
on
what
that
you're
just for a
talking
moment.
about. We have, in the past, we had one interventionist and we had, a full-time interventionist, part-time, and then assistants. And we had to do tutoring. And when there was a reduction in funding, we were afraid that a lot of that was going to be lost, which some of it was lost, but we were also able to maintain some. And so this year we have a full-time interventionist, and then instead of the assistants that were funded through that, we maintain the part-time, and we also added another part-time. And they are both retired teachers. So when we are able through intervention and through tutoring to have the small groups with teachers or retired teachers, it is very beneficial. We are hoping to have lots of gap closure with that. So that's why I was saying we're continuing to use those, and we were very thankful to maintain them because they have proved very beneficial. Anything else?
Any other questions? Thank you, Ms. Snyder. Next up, Loretta High School, Dr. Littleton.
Do any of y'all want a hard copy of my report? I have them if anybody would like
I will
one.
take one.
I will. I'm gonna write them, please.
Just wanna pass it
I
to
will.
you.
I will.
That's it, you're right, y'all.
Thank you.
While y'all are passing those, I do want to say thank you for the opportunity to come and speak to you about our schools. I know I would echo this from all the principals. Anytime we can brag on our schools, we love the opportunity. In fact, I texted Mr. Adkins earlier to make sure my time limit, because he knows that I can talk a little too much, especially when I'm talking about my school, so I'll try to not go over my limit. But I do want to thank you for that. So with our academic successes, that's where I want to start. And of course, with the data being embargoed, we're a little bit limited on what we can talk about. But in 22-23, we were named a reward school. That was the first time that it happened in, well, we couldn't remember when, I'll just be honest. And out of the 400 schools that were named that statewide, only 60 of those were high schools. So we felt like that was a big accomplishment. We were the only high school in Lawrence County to be named that. Now, with the current data that's just been released, you can see on here where I've listed we've increased in some areas, decreased in some areas. In Algebra 1 and English 1, we did have the highest in the achievement of the district, which we know the areas that we need to work on. On our growth, which is the one thing that we can share, unfortunately, that did go down from being a level 3 school to a level 1 school. And you can see our various areas. The English 2 and geometry were by far our weakest areas, and we have put different programs in place this year to try to raise those scores. I know English 2 is an area countywide that we have worked with. So we've put certain things in place to try to increase those scores this year. Chronic absenteeism, that decreased, which is what you want to happen. Again, for the past 3 or 4 years, we've had the best chronic absenteeism rate among the high schools. Our Ready Grad, which that's where, when you hear about EPSOs a lot, and I'll talk about those in a minute, that is where that comes into play with our Ready Grad rate and also ACT. That increased, and again, it was the highest among the high schools. Our grad rate did decrease some, but it was 100% the year before, so it's kind of, you only have one direction to go with that. And when you have 120 students in a class, one student makes a difference on that rate. And again, that's pretty much all the data on that I can share with it being embargoed, but I know you'll get that very soon. ACT, of course, this is a challenge that we face, across the state with all students having to take. The challenge is helping students find the relevance in the ACT. We do offer an ACT prep course. We offer prep sessions. This year we've began using Mastery Connect, which is the program the district uses for our end of course and TCAP areas, and we began using it for ACT by taking a practice test and then doing practice questions in the classroom. And then we offer many incentives, and you'll see some of those on there. Some of it's time out of school, some of it's, something like an athletic pass or free parking space. High school students love to do things for time and money, so we try to capitalize that on with their incentives and offer them things to do well on their ACT. Now, there are certain requirements even with TCAT, so we feel like we might start seeing an increase with our ACT scores countywide because our students going to TCAT need to meet a certain level. On the next page, since I can't share that score for our ACT, it did decrease some, but that group of students met their projection. And as you know, each group of students have different levels that they need to attain. So the group that graduated in 23, because it is lag data, they did meet their projection. However, our composite, we are still wanting to be higher than what we are. Then the early post-secondary opportunities, this is something in our district we've really pushed over the past few years, or EPSOs as you hear them mentioned a lot. We have several statewide dual credit classes where students can take a challenge exam and earn credit in the state of Tennessee. 2 years ago, we did have the highest passing rate in our statewide dual credit psychology class. Local dual credit, we offer that through computer apps, and then also engineering. Students are able to take an engineering, basically practicum course at our school and earn credit at Columbia State. Advanced placement, psychology and U.S. history, and then we have the AP Access for All where they can take various AP courses online. Dual enrollment, I feel like this is something our county does a great job of. We have a great partnership with Columbia State. On campus, and you may or may not be aware, but in the past few years, the number of dual enrollment classes students can take for free has increased. They can take 5 classes and not pay anything before they graduate with Columbia State. So we offer 5 on our campus, Comp 1 and Comp 2. We have 2 history courses and statistics. So they could never leave Loretta High School. We have juniors and seniors who don't drive, so this is helpful for them, and they can take those 5 classes free of charge and have 15 or 16 hours going into college just by never leaving our campus. So we're very fortunate that. We also have a class through UNA, and they work with us to keep the cost down for our students. So we have a human growth and development class we also teach on campus. And then we have many TCAT programs with their welding, plumbing, electric, construction, and students can earn hours through those because those are TCAT instructors on our campus. And then we also have partnerships with TCAT Crump and TCAT Hohenwald with farming operations, cosmetology, digital arts and design as well. And then students will go to Columbia State and UNA sometimes and take courses on campus, but again, we offer those on our campus if they don't want to drive there. Industry certification, we offer many of those. You can see those listed. And as you know, those help our students get a leg ahead when they're going into the workforce. It looks great on a resume. Sometimes they may earn more money for having certain certifications. Dual enrollment, I wanted to include those hours because you can see, with our TCAT Pulaski programs, again with those instructors on campus, we had 69 students last year in our plumbing and electrical program, and they earned almost 10,000 hours. Welding, 85 students, they earned over 10,000 hours. So those programs are just amazing, and if you ever, you're welcome to come anytime and walk in our school and look at those programs, but it's just amazing to see what our students are doing. Our instructors do a great job, our teachers do. The farming operations, that's something that's fairly new, but we earned a lot of hours in that. And then again, Columbia State and UNA. CTE, this is something that I praise you guys for all the time. You probably don't know that, but the amount of support we have for our CTE programs in Lawrence County is just amazing. The emphasis that you place on that, we truly appreciate. For a school our size at Loretta High School, we have under 500 students, and we have 11 CTE programs. That's just amazing. I've listed those on there. Our students just have so many opportunities, so many different areas they can take courses in to figure out what they want to do for their future. And our programs are just thriving. They're amazing. Our teachers do a great job. Career coach, this is a position we all implemented at our 3 high schools. It is a great thing. Again, thank you for that. They help our students, our freshmen and sophomores, to take career interest inventories and help them to know what they want to do for their future. Because, I mean, of course, when they come into us as freshmen, most of them don't know. When they graduate, some of them still don't know. But this helps them to at least put them on some type of pathway and have those conversations. CTE student organizations, we have many of those. Our students are very involved in those. Virtual Enterprise, you know, every year, Miss Mary Pat does a great job. In fact, they've probably just gotten home a little bit ago from Murfreesboro where they've been at a trade fair. She does a great job with those, and as a parent, you know, that's a program that you can see does a lot with their children. I don't know how many times my own child will say, I'm using my virtual enterprise skills, you know, doing these things. And kids come back to us every year to Miss Pack and say, you know, I learned so much in that program. As they do in all of our CTE programs. Health Science, last year, 100% of our students who sat for the CNA exam passed. Skills USA, we compete in various competitions. Then you can see our post-secondary going rate. Last year was about 76% of students that went on to some type of post-secondary institution or the military. And a lot of that is a tribute to our AIRS counselors. The AIRS Foundation, having counselors in our school, that's an amazing service. Parents can come in, fill out the FAFSA with our AIRS counselors, and it's just amazing. Last year, we were named a FAFSA champion school for the 23-24 school year because of the rates that we had on that. Columbia State, we send students for academic competitions there. Our students attend Youth and Government and Model United Nations. Community service, we're very involved with that. We feel it's important to give back to our community. Each year, our seniors go out into the community in May on Lends a Hand Day, and they give back to our businesses. They may pull weeds, wash windows, sweep. They do lots of things for our businesses, anything that they ask us to do, just to help give back a little portion of what they've given to us. Our Beta Club each year, they collect money for St. Jude. Right now, if you come to our school on a Wednesday, you can buy some lovely chess squares because we have mini bake sales. That's one of the projects they do to raise money for St. Jude, and last year raised over $16,000. Our SGA collects money for Angel Tree so that we can buy presents for our students and other students in the community. We do have a food pantry at our school. And then in the past few years, our homecoming parade, we've really tried to involve our community. And I put over 40 floats. I really think it was over 50, but our community has really gotten involved with that, and that has been a wonderful thing as well. Our band has obtained excellent ratings. The Winter Guard program is thriving, and beginning last year, our percussion participated with Summertown in their first season of winter percussion, so again, that gives our students another opportunity. Through the fine arts, we have creative writing classes where the students are able to use their creativity in writing. We also have our theater program, and our students produce a monthly newspaper. Athletics, since I was here last year in April, we have won 2 more state championships, one in baseball and just very recently in volleyball, and that is listed. Also many state runner-up titles, and then our state tournament appearances. So our athletic programs continue to thrive. And then at the bottom, I just have listed that I want to thank you guys. I know sometimes you feel like your work is probably a little bit thankless, but when you see the work that you do with CTE programs, with helping with academics, but then the tangible things you can see, I've put pictures on here, and I know that might seem a little odd, but we're all so proud of this. For you guys approving to approve the painting of our main building, if you had not seen our school in recent years, you would realize our main building probably had 17 different colors. Sometimes we would have a wall that had 4 different shades of brick on it where it has been repaired through the years. That is no longer. So I've listed, I put some pictures on here. Now the main building is all either white, gray, or a bronze trim, and it looks gorgeous. So the next time you drive to Florence, please make a little detour and drive by our school. It matches, for the most part, our new gym, and it ties everything together, and it just looks amazing. On the second page is the back side of it. So if you've ever been to a football game and you would see that red brick, that's not there anymore. It's white. and it looks amazing. We've had the back parking lot behind our old gym paved, and the front parking lot has been paved. Again, it just makes such a difference. Everybody that comes in, says something about that. So again, thank you for approving that big project. I know that was a lot of money, but it has really made a difference in how our school looks. Also, I do want to say, and that's listed on one of my pages, we're very proud of our students and staff. They do a great job day in, day out, like Ms. Snyder said. Even this week, we're trying to survive to get to Thanksgiving break, but they still come in with a smile on their face, ready to teach our children and do the very best they can. So I can't brag on our staff and students enough. And again, thank you for all that you do.
Any questions for Dr. Littleton? I have a couple of comments. First off, I had the privilege to visit your school. Of course, you and I talked, the Veterans Program. From a veteran, thank y'all for doing that. Y'all go above and beyond. That was an outstanding program. I appreciate that. Got a chance to drive around the campus, and it does look very good. Being a graduate of Loretta, it looks better than it ever has. One statement or question back early on in your report, talking about the chronic absenteeism and how Loretta High School is the best, and it has decreased even since last year. Do you have anything to share, and why do you think that you have less of a problem with that? Why do you think that you're improving in there? I'd just like to hear you expound a little bit more on that.
Well, we just stay after our students. We call parents. We're constantly having students in the office talking to them about their absenteeism. We do try to do certain incentives when they come to school, but really it's more just those conversations constantly with them about coming to school, the importance of that, getting those notes in. And we also, when they have so many tardies, we assign lunch detention. Nobody likes to have to eat lunch in the ISS room. So being tardy to class, absences, the lunch detention seems to make a difference. And we do assign them to after-school detention as well, which I know seems counterproductive, because if you can't get them to school in the first place, we're making them stay after. But, we do have those certain things in place. But lunch detention is definitely a deterrent to get to class on time.
Okay. Thank you.
Jennifer, I have one question. Word-based learning this year, what does it look like for Loretta High School?
We have one class each semester. That's kind of where we're sitting, and that may be what it looks like for next year. So we've tried to do more of that, but as our teaching as a profession has grown with that same teacher, we weren't able to offer much more than that.
Good deal.
Anything else for Dr. Littleton? Thank you very much.
Thank you.
All right, next item on the agenda, LCEA. Anything there? Oh, yes.
I just wanted to say that, this is the month we're usually thankful for things, and I know lots of kids are going to the Beta Convention this weekend, and they're very excited, and they've been presenting at schools, and I thought that all of the students, the parents, and everyone that is helping them has done a great job as the kids have presented to the whole school the last 2 days. It's really been amazing.
Thank you. My apologies, but I skipped over 2 line items. Line item B, personnel report. Any questions? Y'all should have received that in your packet. Any questions to the director about the personnel report? Then the director's update.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Do want to compliment and brag on our high schools. I shared with the board, and we put something out on social media about our graduation rate. I share with you, of the 131 districts reporting, the Lawrence County school system was 22nd in the state, and we're very proud of that, thanks to the great work of course, our principals, our high school teachers. But as I've said before, a lot of that begins in the lower grades with the lower grade teachers and middle school into the high school. So do want to recognize that. I want to follow up on some information that's been put out that we can talk about. E.O. Kaufman School was a level 4, and I couldn't remember if Kaufman has already presented to us this year or they were scheduled to present a little later. I want to go back to that, as well as Summertown Elementary for a level 5 school, 2nd year in a row, and there may be some more recognitions coming to Summertown Elementary. We'll know hopefully that tomorrow. Our growth study, as you heard Mrs. Snyder talking about capacity challenges, we've heard Mr. Mabry talk about that. We hear it from schools all the time. Some of our preliminary data from the MGT study suggests some serious growth coming to the Lawrence County school system in the coming years. The board is well ahead of that process by having the study and preparing for the growth. So we'll know more about that, but I did want to give you just a little bit of an update that is underway. They will be on campuses in the next couple of 3 weeks or so, assessing our capacity, assessing our facilities as a part of that agreement. But some growth they've already been able to tell us. This right now, the preliminary, you will see this pretty quickly, and I say quickly, 3 to 5 to 7 years. But the numbers that we will see in 3 years can create challenges. What we see in 5 are going to create even more challenges in 7 if we don't get ahead of it. And again, the board is already ahead of that. We are under an annual audit, and I know the folks, when they hear the word audit, they start shaking and twitching, but we have an audit that goes on every year. One item that has been overlooked and hasn't been shared with the board or the report is the surplus and scrapping of equipment. From time to time, we will surplus items, we will scrap items. We have not done a good job of sharing that information with the board. It's about, I think Mr. Hobbs told me the other day, 40 pages of stuff that they have put together. But I will get some more information and basically share with the board in the weekly update. But some of it is just a Chromebook is no longer of any value. There are some things that we just tossed. There are some things that we surplus and we might get some money out of it, or we may not. But we will do a better job of getting that report on an annual basis, an annual report for the board, so you'll be familiar with that. School safety continues to be a priority. I share with the board an invite for January 23rd, a presentation. We'll get that more information out to you, but that is the panic alert, the wearable panic buttons that we have shared with several folks, advisory and faculty advisory, but would invite the board to come and listen to that presentation. If you're going to be able to come, that is, if 2 or more of you are going to be here, we will need to publicly announce that meeting. Now, it's not a meeting to disclose any safety procedures. It's just to enhance the safety that we have. We'd like to be able to add a few more things to it. So let me know if you plan on being here for that day. As Chairman Daniel mentioned, we were going to present some data. We'll move that to January. I think Mrs. Ridgway has a good bit of that ready and could have presented it tonight, but due to the limitations, she has to pause that, but we'll revisit that in January. Just want to thank the folks in the Lawrence County school system. One of the perks of this job, and there's many, but the one that I enjoy the most is going out to the schools, seeing teachers, seeing kids, hearing stories about how kids are doing and what teachers are doing for them. And then you hear Mrs. Snyder present, you hear Dr. Littleton, you see those students that were recognized. You even get to see a teacher be recognized tonight for her difference in the life of a child, and that just happened to be Mr. Weathers over there. We all have those stories. We are blessed beyond measure in Lawrence County to have good people, great people, who get up each and every day to come and work with their kids. So, Mr. Chairman, that's all I have.
Thank you. Any questions for for the director, Mr. Atkins? I have a question. So on the, actually a couple, on the panic alert, is there any way, Mr. Atkins, to get that scheduled for an afternoon and call a work session? So those board, because maybe more board members could attend if we could do that at a 5 o'clock work session.
Is that day a board meeting, that 23rd? Is that the date I have, January 23rd? I will reach out to the company and see if there's an opportunity to do that. 3:30, 4 o'clock? Because we have a board meeting at 5, correct? If I'm right in my thinking.
We do.
Yeah, I mean, how long will it, we'll find out the details of how long it would take for the presentation.
Oh, it's 30, 40 minutes and then questions. So I will look at
If we do a 4 o'clock, and then that gives us an hour before the 5 o'clock meeting.
Okay.
But then maybe, like, maybe those other maybe we'll have more participation from the board if it's later in the afternoon, because this is hard. I know it's hard for me to make a 10 o'clock on a Thursday. And then I know and you made mention of the report, and I know I keep bugging you on this. What is the ETA of that completion for that report?
I believe we've asked them for the middle of March. We've asked them to move that up a little bit, and they felt like they could do that by the middle of March.
And I know on your weekly reports to us, we've been talking about, or you had been making mention of a retreat and our work session, and now that we have Ms. Watson on the board, can we go ahead and try to get that plan rolling, please?
I can put together some dates and send out and let you respond to me availability, if that's okay.
Yes, sir. Thank you. Any other questions for Mr. Atkins? All right, we'll move on to item F, Tennessee Legislative Network. Any updates on that? I know Chad's not here. Ms. Brenda, have you heard anything?
No, I would like to mention when we were at the convention, one of the most interesting things I saw was the doctor that told about his life of addiction and how easy it is to become addicted and how important catching these kids early and giving them help later is.
Sounds interesting. Of course, we all know following the election, there's bound to be and certain to be some more changes coming, so we'll need to keep a close eye on the TLN and what the state legislation.
Can I ask one question?
Yes, ma'am.
What do you think of the prospect of doing away with the Department of Education if that should happen? How would that affect schools in general?
From the federal level.
From the federal level.
I believe that it would be a positive for public education. And I've said that for years. I think that department was created in 1979, and I remember in the early 90s they were already talking about doing away with that department. So I do think there are some things that would put the control back to the hands of the state. The state government could regulate education in the way that it thinks is best for its people. I don't know the possibility, but I do know there's more talk about it now, and I think there's more of a can-do or will-do attitude with the incoming administration towards that.
What about our federally funded programs we have?
I don't think those change.
Don't think they'll change.
I think those dollars are still there, but I think it'll probably be regulated by the state. The dollars will come down as they are now handed to the state. That accountability may be a little different.
Any other questions on TLN? Report on the TSBA annual convention.
The ones who were there share something they experienced.
Yeah, any of those who were able to attend like to share anything?
I got the privilege of hearing Inky Johnson speak. And for those of you that remember, Inky Johnson played for the Vols and suffered a life-changing injury. And something that he said stuck with me, being an educator. He said, do not count your success by the things you achieve, but count your success by the seeds that you sow. It was quite inspirational. It's very good, but it was good.
Anyone else? All right, we'll move on. Items for consideration, discussion, and action. Number 3, executive committee items for consideration. Greenhouse concrete pads and the LCSS pad. Is there any discussion on these items?
Move we approve.
I have a motion to approve. Do I have a second? We have a second. Please call roll.
Alexander?
Yes.
Oh, I'm sorry, I got it mixed up. Adams?
Yes.
Daniel?
Yes.
Dryden?
Yes.
Jacobs?
Yes.
Rochelle?
Yes.
Shannon? Watson?
Yes.
Weathers?
Yes.
I'm gonna mess that up.
8 yes.
8 yes. Motion passes. Next line item, budget for consideration, discussion, and action. Are there any, y'all can read through those different ones. Is there any questions, discussions to be had on these items?
Will these items be approved as they have been presented?
There's a motion to approve. Is there a second?
Second.
All right, with motion and a second. One final opportunity for any questions before we move to vote. Please call roll.
Adams,
Yes.
Alexander,
Yes.
Daniel,
Yes.
Dryden,
Yes.
Jacobs,
Yes.
Rochelle,
Yes.
Shannon, Watson,
Yes.
Weathers,
Yes.
8 yes.
Motion carries. Next line item, policy items for consideration, the surrogate parent policy. Is there any discussion on this policy? Any questions on this policy? You got a third page?
Yeah.
It should have been in your packet. Assume everybody has read that policy. With no questions or discussion, I'll entertain a motion to approve. No, we did all of them. We made a motion to approve all of them.
Oh, I thought it was the budget calendar.
Do I need to go back and clarify that for the board?
I mean, I'm probably
Did
the
you,
only one who missed it.
Mr. Dryden, did you approve, was your motion for
If
all
it's
the
include
items?
all, if we need discussion, that's fine.
No.
Okay.
Sorry, again, I'm sure it was me. I thought it was just for the calendar. I didn't know that you got everything.
But you did intend to do everything, and everybody was aware that, okay.
Yes.
We'll make sure nobody had anything else to question. All right,
I figured it was on me.
keep up. All right, now we'll go back to number 5 there, the surrogate parent policies. Any questions or discussion? Entertain a motion to approve this policy.
Motion to approve.
I have a motion.
Second.
We have a second. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Number 6, other items for consideration. Next board meeting, January the 23rd of 2025 at 5 p.m. Do we need to vote on that? That's just an announcement. That's when we're going to have that meeting.
Mr. Chairman,
Yes, sir.
are we going to discuss the special session possibility? So we got
We can, absolutely. December, what is that looking like, Mr. Atkins?
That was the 9th.
The 9th, and that is a for sure, I mean, we need to do that.
Mr. Tucker's here. He's the one that handles the bids and the things of that nature, and it comes in on the 5th, which is a Thursday, and we didn't want to do it that night. Now, I think we probably could if we needed to that Thursday, but we asked for it on the 9th, which is a Monday. Is that right?
Now, this is regarding the E.O. Kaufman project, correct?
No.
No.
This is
The building, phase 2 of the football field.
it's summertime.
It's summertime, okay. What about the E.O. Kaufman project?
We've got that back to the engineering firm, or
We're
the,
meeting with them tomorrow, trying to lower the
Yep.
price.
Now, that was, because I had a meeting or a conversation with another board member, that is with ESG, right? And they was asking questions. So how did ESG, just for my own, how do we, because we were with Cromer, I mean, I'm a little confused.
They just provided the engineering for it. They developed plans for it.
So why, I mean, so my question is why? Why was ESG even in this thing? Where did they come from to say we need to do this in these bathrooms?
It's just someone we can go to for engineering.
we already have a professional service agreement with them.
So what led us down the road that says we needed to reach out to these group to get a bit, I mean, how did we get here? I think the board is saying, we've gone a long time.
Bring in a structural engineer.
Well, I mean, what I'm saying, we went a while and then all of a sudden, here, I mean, all of a sudden, boom, hey, the ESG's coming and it's this many thousands of dollars to do this project at E.O. Kaufman. So, I mean, we're kind of in the dark of where did this come out of nowhere to the board, is what I'm telling you. Why did this come out of nowhere to the board?
We had closed those restrooms once we saw that there was a structural issue. And so we then put that out for someone to come in and tell us how we needed to address that. We already had a standing professional services agreement with ESG, who we then asked, you need to come in here and give us an analysis of this so that we can then take something back to the board. So that's how it came.
Okay.
So we didn't have anything to give the board because there wasn't any information to share with you other than we had a restroom that we had closed because of structural challenges, and we needed somebody other than us going over there and doing it. We needed somebody with a structural engineering firm, and we just had it. Had we not, I believe we would have had to go out and try to find a service provider that can do that.
Yeah, I don't think, I mean, just to be sure, I don't think, I mean, I'm not questioning if that's the right thing that we need to do, but I guess I just missed, I don't know if any of the other board members missed the report that we've closed down, that we had a restroom out of order. I missed that. So that's why I say it kind of hit me out of the blue. I wasn't aware that we didn't have operational restroom.
Yeah. No, we didn't, that wasn't something that I shared at the time because it wasn't something that it wasn't creating a burden or stress on the school.
Okay, can I ask a question? So what we're going to discuss is what their recommendation is for what needs to be done to address this problem, correct?
Correct.
Okay.
At some point, not the special session.
No, it's not the special session.
Yeah.
The special session is just phase 2 of the football field.
But there will be a time that you gather, once this information comes in, that we'll have to sit down and discuss that.
Yes.
Yes,
Or
Mr.
does
Jackson.
Mr. Cromer
It's gonna come back to you.
Does he still do this type stuff for us too?
Who?
Do we have two people
Mr.
that we're
Cromer.
going to?
Mr. Cromer retired, but we still have a professional service agreement with that firm,
Lastly, Rich.
Cox Binkley.
Cox Binkley.
We have that with them. We're under no obligation to use them, but we have a service agreement with them. ESG would just provide, here's the plan, it's stamped by an engineer. They would then bid that out if we were to go that route with them. They would probably get it to Cox Binkley, Lashley Rich, whomever. They do that part. We don't. What we wanted from them was an assessment on how to make sure it's done and done right. And then they gave us some costs because they're in that line of work. We weren't happy with that cost. And we paused that and went back and said, we want to see what the structural corrections are. And then we, if we're pleased with that, we'll bid those jobs ourselves. So we've got several avenues that we're going down. The price, as you recall, was high, and we weren't happy with that. So Mr. Tucker took control of that and backed them off, and we're going to see what they come back with on a structural work first.
Mr. Atkins, are the restrooms in the old part of Kaufman or the new?
The old part, the two-story.
Okay.
As you first, the traditional, the older entrance to Kaufman, as you come in, go left, that's where the two-story begins. It's the bottom left.
So, and it is currently shut down.
It's been closed because it's probably could be operational. It's out of abundance of caution.
I'd like to bring up a question that came up with our meeting with the commissioners, just for discussion for later on, is project manager for the school system. And questions that I would have, would that be beneficial to look at that? Over a long term, is there a possibility of splitting that cost with the county? We're talking about this project with, which school is it that we're spending 30 grand on?
Summertown's auxiliary gym that got overlooked.
So that would be a third of what I'm understanding of a cost of a salary for this particular position. So possibly. And, I would just like to entertain the idea of at least researching to see if that would be a benefit to the system.
Yeah, for clarification, we, to the rest of the board, several of us was able to make it, but we had I felt, and I know Director Atkins felt the same, a very productive meeting with the Dave Ray, who's the chairman of this school board liaison committee for the county commission. And what Mr. Adams is bringing up was a proposal we brought to their attention about the need of a project manager countywide. And and how that person could save the county and school system dollars, and free up some of our guys, such as Mr. Tucker, to do educational things instead of project management of construction sites. So anyway, they talked like they were interested in that idea, and was going to take that back to County Executive Morgan was interested in it. I mean, so we'll see. I think it kind of has to be led, from my understanding, it kind of has to be led out of that office, and it'll be a work between his office and your office.
Yeah. Yeah, I was under the impression that they were going to send that from that committee to the budget committee for consideration. And then we'll work out the details on the split salary, the benefits, that sort of thing.
I would like to know from you, Mr. Atkins, if you feel like that would be a benefit from you and Mr. Tucker's view for us to even research,
Well,
for what you've seen over the last.
I think Mr. Tucker and I both would tell you this: if we could go back in time with all the building projects that have taken place in Lawrence County since 2020, the construction projects, everything, knowing what we know now, it would have been wise to have had somebody in place for that. Understanding that, too, we're fixing to get into some more projects with the growth and all. I do think it's worth our consideration, and if the board says that's the route we need to go, of allocating those funds to it, because we have a lot going on in our schools, and we do need somebody to kind of manage those projects.
Thank you.
Well, the last question I have, you were talking about the price coming back at E.O. Kaufman Benson High.
Yes.
Why? Can we not explore that with anybody else?
That's what we're doing.
Yeah, I mean, I mean, obviously, I know that's what you said, but other than the two that we have the agreement with, that's what I'm saying. Can we get outside of the agreement?
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
But that's what I'm saying. Have we talked to anybody outside of it? I know that that's who you talked to, or we have the agreement with the two, but have we looked outside of the agreement?
Well, they
Is that the plan?
Break down some of the prices. We didn't like the prices that they had estimated for the work part. You're going to have to pay for the engineering services. I don't feel like that's out of line. But once they break down those different prices that we've asked them to, then we will own the plans, and then we can pursue whoever we want.
Right. All right. So that's my point of the question.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Do you feel like the engineering side from the professional engineering firm was good price? I mean,
It's fair.
Based
fair
upon
price.
what things that we've paid for in the past, it's in line.
okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
But to Mr. Rochelle's question, that was our concern, that price. And when we looked at that, said we feel like we can do better, but we do need those plans, those engineering plans, because we can't go anywhere without those.
Well, and Mr. Atkins, I don't mean to beat a dead horse, but let me clarify my statement. I wasn't trying to be difficult there, but I just felt like from the questions that I've received from other board members, the deal, we all felt like we didn't know that this was going on. And then in a pass down or just in some communications is, I forget what was it, like 75,000? No, how many, what was it?
710.
Huh?
710.
$710,000 to fix bathroom. And that's when I say it kind of.
It's major.
That, everybody's eyebrows raised on this board when we saw that, like, what in the world, so that's, I don't know that, telling us beforehand, hey, we got a restroom that's broke down that we're closing off, if that helps prep us to know that kind of stuff is coming. But anyway, I just wanted to kind of back up and to say that I wasn't trying to be mean about it. I just letting you know we all were surprised.
Yeah, we were too when that price came in. Yeah, we were.
Y'all were surprised as we were. All right, thank y'all. Any other comments before we?
Do we need to clarify, confirm the special session? Since
Yeah.
Mr. Weathers brought that up.
Yeah.
The ninth?
The ninth, so is that something we need to vote on, or just everybody agree?
December the 9th, correct? What time?
December the 9th, 5 o'clock?
What day?
It's a Monday.
It's a Monday. Okay.
Is that going to interfere with sports, Kurt?
Yeah.
Basketball games? What night does,
Tuesday.
what about board members? Y'all got,
No, we
Works for
play
me.
Orange
It's
Spurs
middle
on
school,
Tuesday night.
Monday and Thursday.
We're open at night.
But surely we'll be done.
You good? All right, yeah, and we'll be done pretty quick. So Monday night, December the 9th, 5 o'clock, special sessions to talk about the second phase of Summertown High School football project. Any other questions?
Motion adjourned.
Motion to adjourn, we have a second? All right. Everybody have a good night. Thank y'all.